Welcome to the Vertex Podcast. I'm sitting down with creative professionals of all types each week to get more into the human side behind their incredible work. I get into their life stories, I get into their challenges, and I get into what fuels their creative drive in hopes to show you that your journey might be similar and that your dreams might be closer than they appear. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get into it. How do?
What's going on?
Welcome to the show. So glad to have you on. How are you feeling today?
Feeling pretty good. A little tired because I had to paint this morning, but not too bad.
Yeah. Where are you painting at?
I'm painting in Clarkston right now. We're painting an underpass for the city.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell me a little bit about what you all are painting in terms of the subject matter?
It's kind of a highlight of all the cultures that Clarkston kind of has. Clarkston's like one of the biggest cities for refugees. So the mural kind of highlights like all the different people and like the languages, the cultures, like the different clothing and the foods that's within Clarkston. And if you like actually go there, it's actually really cool because they're all like lined up right next to each other, like all the different restaurants and stores and all that. It's really cool to see. So I never knew about Clarkston before that project, so it's really cool.
Interesting. So what kind of have you guys been like eating lunch over there, like at the different restaurants?
We did one time. We have falafels. It's probably not. My assistant Danae had this Nepali food market, I think it's called. I think they had really good food on, but I'm gonna try it probably tomorrow. But apparently their food is really good.
Oh, okay. I gotta go over there and check that out because I know that area has like it's known for good food. I mean, I even heard Kilamari singing that part of town's praises about how good their food is, and I think he said something about like a whole fried fish or something that he likes to order from one of the restaurants over there, and like yeah, they got some bangers over there that definitely need to go and check out.
So did you know about Clarkston already?
Yeah, because I stay pretty close.
Oh,
I mean, I go to the market over there in Avondale Estates, which is pretty close to Clarkston, and um, I don't know, I just really like that area. I really wanted to move over there. Uh, there was a time where there was like a couple of houses that I was like looking at real close, like I kind of want to go over there and move, um, but I ended up not just because some complications. But during that time, I was like definitely scoping out the area to see like, okay, well, what's around here? Kind of like grocery stores or restaurants or just places to go and chill or whatever. And I saw a bunch of little spots over there.
yeah, they have a lot of good hidden gems, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. There's matter of fact, there's a spot over in it's I don't know if it's Clarkson. I think it's still Avondale, but it's a repamilla or arepa mia. It's like a let me not mess up the country. I think it's Venezuelan food. It's like gluten free. I think that's like the whole thing where like the chef is gluten
Oh,
free, so she makes gluten free food.
hold on, my alarm's going off really quick. I
Go
gotta
for it.
turn it off.
I'm gonna try to warm up my hands a little bit. Draw some arepas.
Mm, okay.
I don't even
Are we just
know
drawing?
what all goes on to an arepa for real. I'm just doing a little bit of warm up drawing. I'm like trying to draw this arepa, but um, I'm kind of forgetting what's on an arepa for real.
What that is? Is it like a clam?
No, it's supposed to be like a little sandwich, and it's like a clam in terms of
Uh,
like the build where like it opens up on one side and it's like filled with a bunch of stuff. But they usually do like beans, cheese, um, like whatever kind of protein, chicken, beef, pork, and they wrap it all up. They're like really good too. And then what else they do? They do like, but at Arepa Mia they do instead of like the dough or like the bread that they normally do for arepas, they'll do like plantanos or what's the name of those things? I think it's plantanos or plantains. I'm not sure if it's the same name across every country, but they're like the little look like smashed bananas essentially, but they'll make like sandwiches out of them, like two halves. So I know that especially drawing, like it's a lot of artists, especially nowadays, will draw things digitally. But I know that like you're still one that really enjoys to draw like on paper and like by hand and stuff like that. And what do you think what do you think it is, or do you have a preference as to which way you like to draw? Like, do you prefer to draw on paper or do you like digital more? How do you feel about that?
in terms of like sketching, I do like the feel of paper more, like traditional paper. Um, but there's like, of course, a lot of advantages of drawing on the tablet. Like, if I mess up the proportions of something, I could easily fix it on the iPad.
Mhm. There's something about like trying to keep the energy of a sketch that you had like on paper and then trying to transfer it over to like a digital format. Like I feel like there's so much that gets lost in like adding line work and stuff like that. Like I don't know about you, but like whenever I'm drawing, it's like super messy and everywhere. Like I'll just like throw lines everywhere, especially on paper with a pencil.
Mm.
And there's always so much energy. Like it looks messy, but it's very energetic. And then as I'm trying to tie down lines, I mean they just get like I don't know, the energy's just gone.
Oh yeah, I know a lot of artists that have that problem. It's like you kind of lose the gesture or
Hmm.
like the fluidity of it. That's kind of why I don't really do line work anymore. Or if I do, I like leave it kind of sketchy because I enjoy like the looseness of it because I feel like it gives it more like energy or more life.
Hmm. So then
Because
how I'll go for it.
I was just gonna say, when I used to do line work, I think I focused on just making it too clean, and then it would just feel too stiff.
Definitely that. That's exactly how I'd be feeling. So then how do you go about pushing shapes whenever like if you're not really focused on line work anymore? How do you go about um not necessarily pushing the volume, but how do you go about defining the form, if not using lines?
What do you mean?
So I know that you can use like color and shading to push like, okay, this is not a square, but a cube, or not a circle, but like a ball. But in terms of separating one thing from the next, um, how do you keep it from being like super messy, or do you embrace the mess?
Can embrace it to an extent. Like I like some areas being loose, but then once I start to define things, it's usually by like rendering out or using color.
Mm.
Because usually I don't consider like my sketches or my drawings like finished with just pencil or like a sketch, if that makes sense. Like for me to consider it finished, it probably would need like color or at least shading in some shape or form.
Anytime I tell people about your work, or even if they already know of your work and your name comes up in conversation, the first thing people will mention to me is how well you make portraits look, and how well you make people and like relationships and situations in life look. You know, like you can make like a little boy eating cereal at the table look so like amazing and like fun even. You know, it can be seen as like a mundane situation where it's like it's not like he's, you know, flying through the air or fighting a dragon or anything. He's chilling. But um I was always curious as to like how you, for one, where does that focus come from in terms of what makes the mundane so beautiful to you to want to paint and draw and capture? And also, what are you focusing on and what are you thinking about as you're depicting it?
I think I started to enjoy just painting those kinds of poses in college and after like learning more about like fine art when I studied that in college. Um, what's it called? There's like this term with the I think the Greek statues. I forgot what it's called. Is it? Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like the one statue and he's like leaning on one side of his hip.
Mm, is that, is it like a specific named statue? Like,
Not the name of the statue, but I think more of like the what that pose is called.
oh, like the contrapposto thing?
Yeah, that's what
Mm-hmm.
that was in my head. Like I don't know if that's right, but I think after I studied that, I was like, I really enjoy how like the human figure kind of sits naturally, um, like in like candid poses rather than um, something that's either like posed or exaggerated.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, there's like a lot of like there's still a lot of like fluidity to even just like a pose that's like someone sitting down or laying down, like just studying like the S curves and the C curves of the form. I really enjoy. So
Mm.
yeah, I used to do a lot of like action poses when I was younger. I think, um, but I don't know. I kind of strayed into more relaxed, natural poses. But I do like both. But I feel like I do tend to do the more like what do you call it, mundane poses or actions.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you feel like that? I guess I'm trying to. How do I ask this question? So it's, I know that you found them interesting, but I guess what about it like spoke to you, or what did you feel like what about them was like, you know, these are a lot of fun, or like I know that you were studying some of the shapes within them, but what about these shapes versus like action pose shapes or ones that feel like more dramatic and things like that? Is it more of a challenge to try and pick and find them, or is it um hmm more so just how they I don't know. I'm struggling with finding the words to ask the question.
Kind of don't
Hmm.
understand the question. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't want to like not what
What'd
you're
you,
asking.
what'd you say?
I said I feel like I know what you're kind of trying to ask, but I don't want to answer it, and it's like completely in the wrong direction.
No, it's just more so like what about those specific poses connected with you if it was a connection. It may not even be as deep as I'm trying to make it seem. It might just be like, yo, these are just more fun to me, or these are just cooler, or they just represent, you know, I just feel more connected to these types of images or drawings.
Um, I think it's like I enjoy drawing like characters or people that kind of feel like they're like within their world, kind of. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm drawing like characters or people in like an action pose, it feels more like staged or forced. But then when it's like someone just casually doing something that's like no one's really supposed to be paying attention to this pose, but I drew it. It kind of like to me, it's like I'm creating or like depicting this character that is just chilling in their own world, and I happen to capture it. It feels more like natural or believable, I guess. I don't know how to
Mm-hmm.
explain that.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I understand it. It like the feels more authentic and more real than
Mhm.
like the big hero poses and stuff like that. Because I mean, those can be very like exciting and to see, but I think it leaves more to be interpreted and more to kind of chew on visually when you have like candid poses. Because then you're like, well, what are you doing exactly in this pose? Instead of it being like, okay, if it's just some kick or something, like clearly you're going into like you're fighting something or whatever. But if somebody's just chilling, like you don't know what they could what they just got finished doing or what they're about to do or like what they're in the middle of. It's more to think about, more to play around with. So in terms of how you got into doing portraits, um, I read in an article that you did that you would draw portraits of your friends like in school. Was that something where was that like your main source of practice, or was that when you started, or like do you think when you look back at time now was were those some of the more important times of like, man, I'm glad like that was when I got in a lot of reps in terms of getting in portraiture practice.
I think I know what you're talking about, but I that article when I wrote that was it like when I was doing commissions in like middle school or something.
No, mm-mm.
Oh, okay, okay.
No, this one was through Voyage, and you were just speaking about how you did a lot of portraits in middle school.
I did do that. I was charging like my friends like $5, I think, for portrait. It was really
Hmm.
funny. They were like super like caricature. Yeah,
Caricature
but
esque.
yeah, those I was hustling in middle school. Um,
other folks selling candy, and you're like, look, let me draw you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
But I would say I got the most reps in when I took it seriously um, through the 100 Faces challenge, I think,
Oh,
by
really?
Ahmed, I think. It
Mhm.
was a really fun challenge, but I never finished it. It was like, I probably got to like 40. But
That's a tough challenge.
it is. It's very tough. Especially
Mhm.
because, like, for me, I would want to make like every head look very um, completed and nice, which was really hard because I think the time limit was like ten minutes per face.
Mhm.
Just doing those, I like learned a lot about how to draw faces. So I highly recommend doing that if you haven't.
Mhm. I've tried. I tried like a couple of times. I never get past like 4. I like, but I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'm. I think if I really like had to, I could just lock in and like. I still think it would be tough to get to 100, um, but yeah, I definitely think I could get at least into the double digits. But I was just, I'm kind of like you, where I'm trying so hard to make every single one I draw look really nice. And so then I end up just like um just burning myself out pretty quickly because I'm like, dang, I just sat here and drew these heads and I'm trying to color them and add all these details. And I also hit kind of like a middle ground between stylization and then like trying to photocopy the reference. Like
Oh,
if you see, say, like I think that same artist, he put out a Pinterest board full of portraits. Like
yeah.
here you can run these portraits if if you just need some references or whatever. And so I'm trying to run the portraits, or I'm trying to run the references, and I'm like, man, do I copy this one? Do I try to stylize this one? I had like too many voices in my head trying to tell me how to do one thing or another, and so I'm like, it just got to be challenging. But I do want to try it, but I don't know if I would do it in the 10 days. Like maybe just kind of chip away at it over time.
You don't have to follow it exactly. Like I know a lot of artists that will like extend the time. There's this one artist, I forgot her name, but she painted all the portraits in gouache. So I'm sure that took way longer than 10 minutes.
I think that I think G showed me that before.
Yeah, I think
It's
we talked about it.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like painting them, but it is something that she probably chipped away at like over the course of probably like a couple of months or something, or maybe a couple of weeks, something like that. I'm like, I feel like that's a little bit more more doable there because it's like, it's just something that you kind of just chip away at, and every single one is just adding up. And I think even at that rate, you might even go past 100 because then at that point you've just formed a habit, and you're like, I kind of don't want to stop. Do you
But you've
have
done,
what's that?
or I would say you've done other challenges like for characters, though, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I've done Inktober, and I've done I've started my hand at Concept Artist RPG, but I
uh,
don't do all of the prompts the in Concept Artist RPG because they're not all character focused. Some of them are like environments, some of them are props, some of them are um like what is that? Like sets or like rooms and stuff like that, backgrounds. But I try to just focus on the character ones because that's what I wanted to focus on. Um but yeah, I don't know. It's tough for me to to get through these challenges sometimes because I just burn out, or I'll be on a challenge and then you get a mural job, and then you're like you're just going through and you're like, damn, I've been painting all day. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this one tomorrow, and then tomorrow comes and goes.
It's hard to juggle it as like considering what we do. I feel like the artists that are like they primarily work in their sketchbook, it's easier for them because that's mainly what they do. But for us, we're like juggling a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, very true. How do you go about staying consistent on multiple fronts, like in your sketchbook or in challenges and things,
I
while
do.
also doing mural? Say you don't.
It's very hard. Like I have so well, it depends on like the season, but when it's like the busy season, it's like I'm just doing all the client work. It's very hard to juggle.
Hmm.
So it's very very rarely I'll find time to like work on my sketchbook, which I know it's also like a habit that I should build up like what like 10 minutes a day, but there's always so much going on.
I feel like those are harder, like the 10 minutes a days, because 10 minutes is gonna come and go, and like by the time I get to 10 minutes, I'm gonna be like wanting to keep going,
Yeah.
or like I don't know. It's really tough because you, I don't know. I just kind of know myself a little bit better than like I'm like, yo, this is not gonna work. Like 10 minutes is not gonna be enough time for me, and like it ends up, I end up just like drawing for like an hour, and then I'm like, dang, um, because then you kind of get in your head going forward, and you're like, do I have an hour to draw today instead of just trying to commit the 10 minutes? But I guess that's like more of a mental hurdle for me to get past.
To like the 10-minute limit, you would build like a shorthand in a
You
way.
build a what now?
Like a shorthand of like how you draw stuff super quickly.
Yeah, I guess so. Because if you only have 10 minutes, then like you'd have to figure out how to get all that you need to
A
draw
lot of
in
pressure.
the 10 minutes. So what now?
That's a lot of pressure in 10 minutes too. Like make something good in 10 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. I saw a challenge that I wanted to do that was about making comics,
Mhm.
and it's like the daily comic practice or something like that.
Mhm.
And the challenge is essentially you start off with 1 minute and you try to make a whole comic in 1 minute. And of course you only get 1 minute. So the comic's gonna be, only so good. But every day you add 1 minute. And so then the next day you get 2 minutes to make a comic. And the next day you get 3 minutes, and so on and so forth. And I think the person who started it, I think they capped out at 50, like 50 minutes. And so then they get into a habit of drawing basically an hour comic every day. And I have been wanting to try that too, but I'm like, man, that 1 minute comic, how we gonna get that? What's that 1 minute comic gonna look like?
Easy. I had to do something similar in college, in my sequential art class. But I think we still at least had like 10, 15 minutes. And even then, I like hated every comic that I made. I was like, this isn't finished. It looks terrible.
Hmm. Were
So
the comics like were the comics like action based, or like more storytelling, or what were they kind of
it
based
depends
in?
on like a prompt each day.
Oh, okay. Like like a different thing from the professor, or like,
Yeah.
okay. Hmm. I just noticed that you took away your portraits.
Yeah. Is that okay? Should
Yeah,
we
yeah, you
be
good.
straight?
Nah, nah, you're all good. So, what about whenever you're whenever you are making a portrait? Like, can you walk me through how you create how you create a face now that you've drawn so many? Do you have like a recipe or like a formula or like a one, two, three step, like foolproof, like draw a face in a can, like kind of thing?
I think at this point it's become very intuitive. Like I don't like really think about it, but I
Mm-hmm.
would say I would probably have to do an example. Um, okay, let's see. I'd probably start with like the shape of the top of the head, like the silhouette,
I'm gonna
and then
I'm gonna draw it alongside you. I'm gonna do my own.
like the
So you
same.
said top of the head. I won't do the same thing, but I'll take your steps.
Oh, okay.
You said the
So,
top of the head.
oh, nice portrait.
Oh, preach, preach.
Um, okay, so I'll start with the silhouette of like the top of the head, and then I'll do like the middle guideline for the center of the head, and then I'll do like the eyes. But sometimes I'll just do this like in my head, like I don't always need the guidelines drawn out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I usually start with the eyes, and I'm looking at a reference right now, so let's see.
Mm-hmm. And so when
So
you're drawing, oh my bad, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, you're good. Go ahead.
So when you're making the facial features, I know me personally, this is where I start to struggle, is the sizing of said features. Like I can make the shape of a head like a silhouette. I can do that like very easily. But then when I have to make an eyeball, when I have to do somebody's nose, their mouth, it's like their mouth is way too big or their eyes are way too small or like their nose is taking up a third of their face or like how do you have any like any things that you kind of think about or little rules of thumb that work across multiple faces? I know everybody looks different, but are there any things that are like consistent?
I think when I did the 100 faces challenge, I would do a lot of like this kind of um how do I show this? There's like guidelines you kind of reference. Okay, let me try to. Hmm. So okay, just let's say the nose is right here. Um, I would do like little lines like this, and maybe like this to kind of. So I would like do an imaginary line on the reference to
Mm-hmm.
kind of like see the angle of like what where the say like the nostril of the nose meets the corner of this girl's eye. So I would draw it,
So,
imaginary line on the reference, and
mm-hmm.
then I would actually draw it out on the sketch, and
Okay,
then that
so
will
going like from here to the eye, drawing
yeah,
this line. Uh-huh.
and then that will just kind of help me with proportions and like seeing where it goes.
Hmm.
A
And
lot of people
so,
do it with the corner of the eyes to the nostrils when you're doing the front facing portrait.
mm-hmm. And so where does that what does that help you to see easier? Like, is it more so like the line of the eye kind of follows through to the nose, or is it like where would I wouldn't know where to stop? Like, I'd mess around and be like way down here, or like stop way short.
Uh, Doing multiple lines would help with that.
Mm-hmm.
Hoping that's a good piece of advice that might be wrong, but
Yeah.
say like you could use the corner of the eye and then the outside of the eye and like where they kind of meet is where that point
Mm.
would be, I think.
Yeah. I guess, and if you're creating faces, then I mean that line is up to you because people's noses and eyes vary in size and shape. So you can kind of just create where you want, but it kind of keeps things like like sound, I guess, in the face.
And
Wait, you cut out just a sec. What'd you say?
were you asking more so advice on like faces that you imagine?
Just in general, like
Oh,
they
okay.
could be faces that you're studying or faces that you imagine, because there's like a picture of a person's face can be so simple, but at the same time, if you're trying to draw it, there's so many places you could start, and like you
Uh-huh.
don't really know where to, like, how to kind of get into it sometimes, like where to start, or where to, how to kind of map this thing in. Especially whenever if I ever see pictures of like women and they have a lot of makeup, where there's not a lot of wrinkles in their face, or not a lot of angles to their face. If their face is like very smooth and like clear, and there's just like eyes and then like nose, like, because you there's nowhere to kind of guide, there's nowhere to kind of reference. It feels like I'm just guessing, I'm like, man, I hope it's right here, and then we'll see if it works out.
Applies to drawing too, but my professor would always be like, choose a reference that has like really strong lighting to and stray away from like those pictures that you're talking about where it's like so flat and like the like everything's even on the person's face. I think it kind
Mm,
of applies to drawing because like he would say don't use those in the beginning because it's so hard to like depict the form when you're first starting.
yeah. Yeah, you have to kind of get a feel for what's uh I guess it's kind of like that. It's like easy mode or like hard mode. Like
Yeah.
when it comes to like trying to spot where where to place certain facial features. And it sounds like it comes from a lot of mileage too. Like there's
Yeah.
certain things that you can use to help you, but it's just at it's gonna be a little uncomfortable until you get enough of them under your belt. Oh shoot, Doug Laver, what's up? What's happening? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to Twitch. What, first time chatting? He asked me if this was Batman. Could be. Very well could be. Monk Panda, what's popping? He said it's looking good so far. Thank you. Thank you. This is cool. I'm like, I was trying to figure out who I was drawing here, but it very well could be Batman. I'm gonna see if I can make me a little Bruce Wayne out of this real quick. I forget if his mask goes up to like the end of his nose, or does it go underneath? Like, can you see Batman's nostrils? I can't hear you if you're talking. I could see your mouth moving, but I couldn't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I said I feel like it would make sense if his nostrils weren't covered.
Right, like going all the way underneath, like to his to like his mouth.
Yeah.
Let's see about, I'm gonna give him a little bit of fang, because I always thought that was like a missed opportunity with his mask if they gave him like a little fang, just to kind of play more into the bat aesthetic. Do you know of an artist named um Alpi. I think it's Alpi FA. He's an oil painter, I think. I think.
Yeah, he is. He's really good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he I really enjoy the way that he'll depict like superheroes or like movie characters in like the portraiture. Like he makes them look very like painterly and like it feels stylized, even though it's more of a realistic kind of painting, it feels very stylized in terms of like even little embellishments he'll add. He always adds like the little just like random paint strokes in certain areas just to kind of
Hmm.
mix things up. Always found that to be interesting. How do you go about stylizing your your features in your people, whether it's like facial features or like hands and feet or arms and legs? Um, I know that you'll push things with paint and with shading and color to make them appear realistic, but I do see a lot of like stylized shapes with it. And so, is there any particular style that you go for? Are there like artistic influences that you kind of look to when you're doing it, or are you just kind of letting it flow?
I feel like I have a hard time um, choosing like a distinct style, even though I've heard like differently from other people. They say that like they can tell it's my style, but I would say like my influences. I think I do like a mix of like stylized realism and then like I have an influence. I took um, a lot of animation classes in sequential art, so I think that that plays a role in how I draw and do figures and all of that. So I do try to have like a mix of fine art and then like animation slash like I guess like a comic style.
Hmm. Whenever you're in that animation class, and whenever you were studying a lot of them, what were some of your favorites? Which were some that were like the most influential to you?
Mm. I don't know in terms of animators. I oh Grass Flew. I really love Grass Flew, but I think she's a storyboard artist. And then I really enjoy concept artists. So um, Ari Pan, is a big
Yeah.
inspiration of mine. And then I don't know how you pronounce her username, but it's like Aru Chili, also
Oh
big
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. She's crazy. She's got like, man, it's like she makes it look so easy.
Yeah, she's crazy.
Hmm. Interesting. Cool. What about whenever you were what about whenever you were younger? Did you have any like childhood influences that kind of shaped your style or your at least your interests whenever you were younger and drawing?
I used to read a lot of manga when I was younger, so I think that played a role for sure.
Really?
But
Which
I
ones?
like. Oh, we don't talk about what I read when I was younger.
Ooh.
Embarrassing ones that should not be mentioned.
Oh man. All good. All good. So I know that I know I used to read um I read a lot of shonen. I was always like a shonen type of reader just because as a little kid, little boy, I just wanted to like see people fight like with cool powers and like just interest in like monsters, creatures. I read I read a manga called Hack, which was which was pretty cool. I used to read Zatch Bell and what was the name of that? Um, the name escapes me right now. It was like a there was like a soccer one too. I think it's called Inazuma 11, where it was basically like soccer, but the people had like cool powers with it. Though some kid could like use ice powers and send off like a soccer ball, but it's not like a big ball of ice coming towards the goal. And the main character was like a goalie, and he could use like this big god hand to like catch a soccer ball from and um basically anything they sent down his way, he was stopping that. And it was really cool to see like the team um just win game after game and like work their way up the ranks and stuff like that. Certain influences that I think they'll still influence um they still kind of make decisions for me in terms of whenever I'm designing something or when I want something to look really cool. Like I'm thinking like, man, I kind of want it to feel like how I felt whenever I was watching this show or whenever I was reading this. Do you have anything like that that still kind of whispers in your ear as you're drawing, as you're painting?
I don't know. I feel like I have a lot of um, inner thoughts that tell me like I need to make it look more like fine art. Oh my gosh, I had a professor that really like pushed me to do fine art. So like every time I draw and like something stylized, I always feel like it's not good enough. So I always hear that voice.
Mm, interesting. So then, why was it something where he was like singling you out to try and push you further, or was he just like that for all the students?
I think he was like that for a lot of students, but I feel like me in particular, he like knew that I had a lot of technical ability, so he was like, "Oh, don't do this anymore. Like this is you already know how to do this, so do something else."
Mm, yeah.
Basically, do stuff that I hated to get better.
Mm. And so I'm sure, like with you being in school, like there was probably a degree of wanting to, like, just trying to listen to the professional. You're like, I guess they kind of know best. So let me try it. Let me see. And so, like, when did you when did you kind of see through it, or when were you like, I don't have to do this, or like I shouldn't do this anymore? Like this sucks. I'm over it.
That the whole time, but he literally was like, "If you want to get an A in my class, like you have to do this." So I was like, "Fuck it, um, I'm just gonna do this, get the A, and then like in my free time or afterwards, I'll do what I want."
Mm, interesting.
College was a dark time for me.
Yeah, yeah. How so? You care to share?
In terms of like, I think a lot of artists go through this, but like they learn so much about art and like the technical side of it that eventually it just becomes like something that they don't enjoy anymore.
Mm,
Or just like how the professors pushed me to like do things that I didn't want to do because they had like a bias. So um, yeah, I did not like making art for a long time, or I felt very like it was like a identity crisis or like a existential crisis.
mm-hmm.
I feel a lot better now. Like after that was finished,
The
I feel
school
like
as a whole or that class?
um there was more than one class, so it wasn't all the professors. I had some professors that I really enjoyed, but there was enough professors that made me hate it to where, yeah, I came out of college hating it. hating my
Mm,
experience.
mm, yeah, definitely understand that, man. Like, and I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel like it used to make me mad when certain professors would see your your skill, or like, oh, like, you've got an inkling for this, you have potential to be this, and they push you in a certain way because you want to because they want to see you become this thing that they want you to become, or that they think you should be, and they speak from a place of like, I'm the professor, I know best. And it's because, the professor might have had some career success before he or she started teaching. And so then they're like, oh, I've done this thing or that thing. And, this is why you should listen to me. But even the thing is like, it's just old. Like, it's from like a long time ago. Like, they did something really cool like 30 years ago. And so you're like, you should still listen to me 30 years later, even though that was the last cool thing I did. And I don't know, that used to just never sit with me, because I'm like, like, this is frustrating, especially because, I mean, you were the same way too, where like through college, you're doing stuff in the city too. Like you're doing real like art projects, and you're you're getting work in shows, or you're doing mural jobs or freelance gigs, and so you get a better scope of what the actual industry is like. But because it doesn't add up with what the professor was saying, it's like y'all clash.
Mm-hmm.
And then they try to pull rank by like threatening grades. And they're like, oh, well, if you want this, if you want an A, then you got to do this. And like, that's so terrible. That's so terrible for a young growing artist to feel like they need to fit in this mold in order to be something, or to succeed, even threatening like a bad grade if you don't listen to me. And it's like, ugh, it's terrible.
Wow, that was really like a power trip. I didn't even like see it that way.
Hmm. I mean, I don't know if your professor in particular used it exactly like that, but that is a possible thing, and I've seen professors do it time and time again, and like, it just sucks. It's like, bruh, they work with me. This is an industry where there's enough room for everybody, and it thrives in people being different from the next person. So why are you trying to cookie cutter me? Let's see. It says Zach and I were having dinner, and he told me you had a pod stream. I hopped on. Oh, word. That's what's up. Tell Zach I said what's up, and that I appreciate him. He said, in the world of fine art, be a Basquiat. I didn't know too much about Basquiat. I didn't pay attention to that part in art history like that. But um I know that there's a big part of Basquiat. I think that they more so loved Basquiat because of his story and because of his like dare to be different versus like what exactly he was painting. Just like that willingness to like put up something that's completely different from from what you see, you know. And that has me thinking too, where it's like, what can we do a lot of times as artists in today's world to like to kind of do that, because there's so much out there in all the different styles. Like, how can we do something like that where we're like, this is something so different, so new, Mhm.
I feel like
Yeah.
at this point, like instead of focusing on like originality, which I think is not achievable at this point because like most everything's been done, I would say just focus on like catering towards your taste and like what you enjoy doing, and then people will follow that, and like your story, of course.
Mm.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, it makes sense. Being able to just kind of lean more into what you know, into how you feel, and trusting that there's gonna be other people out there who agree or can resonate. Because I think artwork has become like a big source of. I mean, it's always been a source of connection, but I feel like now, uh, even more so, uh, people love artwork that they can connect with, that they can resonate with. So, how do you go about? I know that you travel a lot too, whether it be just for vacation or for like mural festivals and things. And curious as to how you digest what you see in new places and incorporate it into your creative practice.
I've been that intentional about doing that. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I um, drew more when I traveled, but I think I would say I do a lot of like photography or videography. I think that influences my art to some extent. Although that's like another creative medium that I've um, learned to love. Um, Even if there's not like a direct correlation to my art, I'm sure there is like unconsciously. I take a lot of like photos of landscapes. And I think just like some of the photos that I take, um, the colors of the photos or the videos, um, I take inspiration from.
Mm-hmm. Mm. What got you into doing photography?
I took a photography class, and well, I think it was a videography class actually. But then I fell in love with like how a DSLR takes photos, and then I got a Fujifilm, so now I bring it almost everywhere.
Mm. Yeah, I've seen certain shots, or I think they're yours. I'm not sure, but um the ones there was a post you made on Instagram talking about like lessons you've learned as like professional artist, and like each one was maybe like a shot from like a beach or like a mountaintop or something like that. Those were your shots? Dang. Yeah, those were like really, really good. And the colors. Really enjoyed like the color grading on those stuff too. Like there's a certain kind of eye you kind of have, or that you have to have whenever you're doing photography. Like, and it's hard to explain too. Like you literally look at things, you look at the world in a different way. Like, do you find yourself kind of like angling yourself in certain situations to like see the entirety of a situation, or like if you're getting ready to take a picture, you're like seeing even like relationships between like, okay, a person, a mountain, the cloud, or like even seeing like little shapes in just like your surroundings.
I think once I started taking more pictures and videos, I would like be on the lookout for like certain lighting or certain colors or like certain compositions.
Mm. And I know a lot of people who do both painting and photography, they'll oftentimes use their photos for like backgrounds in their paintings. And so like they'll kind of shortcut it even because then it's kind of like the photo bashing or photo mashing, I think it is. But when it's with your own photos, you can just like draw the people over the top of your own stuff. And it kind of helps that way, especially if you're playing with the colors and saturation and like the exposure to a point where you can kind of match your your painting style with it, and like
Uh,
that helps a lot too. I think it's a fun thing to play around with for sure.
I never thought of that. That's really smart.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, you
Do that.
should you should try that because I mean you already I mean you're doing both, like and I mean I think it would even save you some time in terms of like doing especially projects that are digital. Then you could just drag the photo in and just paint over top of it. I think
It's
that
true. I
helps.
should do that.
Yeah. Or if you ever had like a photo that you took and you wish that something was in it. Like, dang, I wish there was like another person on that side. Or I wish that, the bird had stayed right on this branch, but it jumped over right before I took the picture or something like that. Being able to paint those in would be, that's a good time. Have you played around with any like film photography and stuff like that?
I have not. I just have like the film simulations on my Fujifilm. Because I think film takes a long time, doesn't it? Like to develop or something like that.
It depends on who you take it to. I take it to a spot that's further away. It's in Douglasville. And so it takes like a smooth like 50 minutes to drive over there.
Oh,
But
dang.
but they'll have your photos developed the same day. And I think it's just worth the drive. Like I'd rather just drive an hour and then get my photos today versus like trying to drive down the street and then it takes days or weeks to get them back. But yeah, that's a good place to go to. But I think you should try it. I think that the type of the type of photography that you like to take, I think that film plays really well, at least with the idea and like the motive behind how you capture because you it forces you to be intentional because you have a limited number of shots. And I think that it plays nicely with your natural lighting because there's no like flash, unless you add a flash to your camera. Most film cameras don't have just like a flash on it naturally, but you're having to play with your lighting. You're having to like plan around golden hour or plan around, the cloud in the sky or, is it a cloudy day? Is it a sunny day? Is it what time is sunset or um whether you're indoors or outdoors, you're having to like take all of those different factors into consideration. And the nature of film too is like you don't get to see what you took until you get them developed. So it's not like you hit it and then you're like, that's not all right. Like that's not right. Let me hit it again. Let me get another one. You're just like you sit there and you try to take the best dang photo you can in that moment. And then you hit it and then it's like done. And sometimes you might try a second one, but even that, it's like it's gotta be a very important moment because you're like, I'm trying you only get 36 shots in most roles. And so you're like, shoot, to use two or to use five, you're using a significant number of shots, for this one moment, so it's got to be important. And I think because there's so few shots, it makes me want to capture like the entire feel of a thing instead of capturing little details. It makes me want to capture like the entire thing. Like if you're at a barbecue, I'll find myself backing up and trying to get like the whole table and everybody in it and everything. Like I'll try to capture that instead of like one and two, unless I just want to get in and get details.
Camera do you have?
I have a what is this? I have it somewhere. It's a Minolta. Dang, what is it? I have a couple of them actually because my granddad collected cameras before he passed away, and we were going through his stuff after, and we found his old camera collection. So I have a couple of them. I have a I have a Yashica like 115G or something like that. I don't know the exact camera names, but it's a medium format um, camera and shoots and film. But with the medium format, you're able to get a lot bigger photos, and it has like some zoom attachment to it to where you can kind of back up, and that's really one that captures like whole scenes. Like people used to like just prop up a tripod and like capture an entire situation off of like that one photo. I also have a Pentax X100, I think it's called, and that's a film one as well. And yeah, a couple of them, but they're all like film cameras. Like that was his thing. He um loved to take pictures in film because I mean he was still around when digital cameras were out, but I think he just enjoyed the film camera.
That's cool. You kind of like took on that his passion.
Yeah, it's cool. Like I didn't even realize how fun it was because I was just kind of like, you just take a picture. Like I got my phone. What I need a camera for? Like that was my like my belief on it at first. But I feel like it's like an art form. Well, of course it's an art form, but like film photography in particular with I mean loading the film, unloading the film, like, you have to be careful not to like expose not to expose the film to light. And so even like making sure that you've loaded the camera correctly and unloaded the camera correctly when you're done. Like I've lost a whole roll of film one time because as I was like rolling it back up to take it out of the camera, I think it got caught on something and it ended up ripping the film down the middle. And I ended up just like pulling film out of the camera. And so whenever I popped open the back of the camera, it's just like a whole mess of film back there. And as soon as I see it, it's exposed to the light. And so photos were just gone. Or even I kind of shifted the film in the middle of um of shooting a roll one time, and because of that all of my photos were kind of like halfway exposed over each other. And so you get like one picture and then like half of it is something else, but then it's like this middle part. It's like a Venn diagram of like both of the photos together. It's like, what is this?
Turned out cool or no?
I mean, it was okay. It wasn't like amazing, but I think that doing it intentionally, like if you can pick and choose what you're stacking on top of each other, it could be cool.
Uh,
Like even what you can I mean, there's a lot of ways you can play with the development process too. Like I've heard of people soaking their film in like lake water and lemon juice and like wine, and it changes the the chemicals in the film, and it makes certain film come out with like different colors or with different effects. And so it's an interesting process, and like I mean there's so much on it if you go and research like different ways to play around with film. Like, oh, there's so much to it.
I would like to try it. Just sounds like there's a lot of ways it could go wrong.
There is, but I think that's the fun part of it because it's like a it's so satisfying whenever you finally do turn in that roll of film and then you get your pictures back and they look even better than you thought. And it makes you kind of want to do the process all over again. It's kind of like paint a mural, you know, it's like a million ways a mural could go wrong, but once you
Mhm.
finish it up and you're like, dang, that was actually pretty nice. That was actually cool. I could do another one. And that's like the best way I could describe it. That's how it feels at the end of it. But it is expensive. Like, I mean, buying the camera, buying rolls of film, taking it to the film spot, the development process costs too. But you know, I think it's cool that the photos come out and they feel timeless.
I'm struggling. Okay, goodbye.
Be like that.
I like your duck character.
Oh, thank you. I I really like how you just put these two kids together, like just sleeping. Like that's something I would never think to like draw something like that, you know. And it's cool. It's cool seeing like the difference in like what people can really like make look beautiful. Cause I'm like I don't know. I wouldn't have made it look like that. It wouldn't have been that cool.
The
Oh, five
reference.
chakras in the chat. Trudy, five
Hello.
wise.
Oh, five wise.
Mm-hmm.
Hi.
Let's see. You know, I was talking to G about people who will make you know when people make those videos about like, oh, spend a day in the life of an and that day starts off with like, oh, I wake up at 8 and I make my coffee and then I sit down and I draw in my book and it's all perfectly curated on this clean kitchen table and I you know and I get down these three perfect drawings and then I close it and then go to the to the store and I blah 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 like and they push this I feel like they push a certain narrative or belief that life as an artist is supposed to be so like smooth and easy just like that. You get up, you get the coffee, you draw, it comes out perfectly and you're on about your day. And I think for people who don't have who aren't artists and don't have artists around in proximity in their life, they they're they're walking around with the belief that this is how it's supposed to go. So then whenever they actually try to be an artist and it doesn't go that smooth, then they're like, something's wrong with me because it worked like that for them. And we were talking about like what the artist's life is really like, in the day to day. Sometimes you get days like that, sometimes, but that's not the majority of days. And so I'm curious to know how you feel about stuff like that and even just about the things that that don't make it to the Instagram reels, or things that don't get documented but are still very normal and very a part of the artistic process.
Um, it's definitely not like that. It's like I go through a lot of failures when I'm drawing or making art. There's a lot of like terrible sketches and artwork in my tablet. Um, and then just like being an artist, it's a lot of like when you're running a small business, it's a lot of like admin, just like doing stuff on the business side. That's probably spent like I wouldn't say half, maybe like 30-40% of my time doing that.
Mm.
So yeah, it's definitely not like those videos at all. But hey, you have to romanticize it for the content.
And I wonder why, and like it's not to say that I'm not one of these people. Like I've done the same thing. I make videos where it looks a lot smoother than it actually went, or you don't include details that were like turbulence or like little frustrations along the way. But I wonder why we can't do that. Why can't we include the mess sometimes? Or why that is. I'm curious. Like I kind of want to start doing. I kind of want to start making reels just full of the stuff that we be dealing with that's frustrating. Like I feel like I feel like people should know that kind of stuff just because I think it would even help in terms of pushing the narrative that artists like that the art is hard work because sometimes it looks so easy that it feels like, oh, we just like wave a wand and it's painted. But it's like, no. I wish. I wish. Hot Chakra asks, how do you come up with sketches/original ideas? I'm working to build my own stickers and ideas, and I find it a bit difficult to create from my mind. What do you think?
Mm. I build a lot of mood boards on Pinterest. I think that's my first way to find inspiration, especially when I'm in like an art block. Otherwise, um, like just throughout the day, I'll like be thinking of like concepts that like randomly come to my mind. Like maybe I'm like seeing something and then something pops into my head like, oh, this is a cool concept, and then I'll like write it down into my um like my notes app, and then I'll kind of use that as my ideas for my drawings. It's kind of vague, but I feel like a lot of my drawings have a specific type of concept from like an idea I had. I don't know. I don't know if that would work for every creative, but that's how I go about it.
Sense? I think so. And I mean, it's similar to me too. I was listening to a podcast like last week, and it was with the CEO of Spotify, and he spoke about creativity and original ideas in a way that I really enjoy. And he says that like nothing's ever really original, and like we've heard that before, but he says that instead of instead of things being like something that you've tried to think up on your own, any original idea that you see is just an abstraction between at least two things that you haven't seen before. And so the goal is not to come up with creative original ideas, but the goal is to introduce your mind and your eyes to so many different things that you have no choice but to eventually stumble upon something, some viewpoint. You've curated your mind even to see things from different perspectives because you've introduced it to so much. And I think about when anybody's doing something brand new in a space, they usually come from another place. Like, I just went skating the other day with G, and there's a skater there that's crazy. That's like ridiculously good. And and it's like he doesn't skate like anybody else in the ring, and he's super good at it. And I'm like, in my mind, it makes me think, what else do you do? Because the
Mhm.
way that you move, a lot of these people here that are skating, even the good ones, skating is like, their main thing, or like, they just come to the rink to skate or whatever. But anytime that you see somebody doing something that's unlike anybody else, like, oh, I do yoga on the side, or I'm a kickboxer, or I'm a dancer, or I do, I don't know, something else, some other thing where you have to move your body in a way that's different from everybody else. Um, One of my friends that skates as well, Johnny Hill, he does a lot of taekwondo, and he's like a stunt double, and he does kickboxing, and he puts those moves in his skating too. And it
Oh,
looks original because he's like, because in the ring, nobody else is doing that. But at the same time, in the kickboxing ring, nobody's skating in the kickboxing gym. Nobody's
yeah.
skating in the taekwondo gym. And so he's found this thing that feels original to him, but in reality, it's just because he does both. And so it's kind of like finding finding enough things to be interested in to where like your mind has no choice but to like cross these two paths together. Like your mind's gonna see consistencies and patterns. You just gotta like throw enough stuff at it, I think. And I've really liked that viewpoint since then.
I feel like I see a lot of artwork that I'm just like, how the heck did this artist even come up with this? But then I realize like it's that same point, like it's all their experiences that just like are so different from yours. That's why I also like I think one artist that I was listening to just advised like traveling is so good for you because you just get to experience so many different ideas and concepts and just like visuals. It's so good for an artist to do.
Absolutely. You're seeing stuff that you never see. But then on top
Exactly.
of that, you're seeing it with the knowledge of what you've seen before, and your
Mhm.
own viewpoint and your own way to like digest it. And so you're gonna just come up with stuff that like nobody's seen before because nobody's really seen the world like you've seen it. And so you have no like that's just what it is. Like that's what it's gonna do. Hmm. Hope that was a good answer to that question. Just like throw more stuff at your brain, throw more stuff at your eyes, and like do things that that you haven't done before. Like whenever I went to Lightbox, people were so surprised that I did murals, or like they were so like oh shoot, because it's like it's something different, and then they kind of see it in the style of the work too. They're like, I've noticed it, especially, I mean, with my work and with everyone's work, like in the mural space, so many people's work is like easy to see. Like anybody who's like a muralist, and like you go to like the ABV shows and you see that work on the wall, like you can see their work, you can see exactly what it is from like way down the way. because they paint so many murals, like they have to think about visibility and readability. I think that's like really cool how that translates even to the gallery space too.
Good point.
Because I also have my own hurdles to jump. Yeah, man, it'd be like that. It'd be like that. I've do you have any things that you are either struggling with or just really focused on learning or becoming as a creative?
I think environments I'm really bad at.
Mm,
And it's something I do want to improve on because one goal of mine is to paint like make more paintings that are like scenes rather than just like to focus on like a figure or a person. It's like an
mm,
entire. It's very hard for me to do.
mm. Yeah, it is a lot when you think about what you have to what you have to draw to in order to like make an entire like scene, as you would say. You know, it's you're having to draw the people, you gotta know portraits, anatomy, then to draw like you said what now? Oh, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, I got you.
Oh, I said perspective.
Oh yeah, yep. Learning to put it in space, like you gotta place it like a little piece. You gotta place it somewhere, and
Yep.
then even the like foliage. If you're outdoors, you gotta learn like grass, trees, rocks, the ground, and yeah, and then even having them all play together, composition. How do how do you give one thing a focus? How do you tone down something else? And then that's all still in black and white. We ain't even talked about color yet. And that's its own it's its own thing. But, it's part of that journey. What do you what would you say to an artist who's struggling to it's kind of running out of gas on their creative journey? Like if they're just doing a lot, it's just not really stuff ain't really hitting like they need it to, and the things that they're drawing just doesn't really excite them, or maybe they're not getting opportunities like they wanted to, and like that they gotta push through that, but they don't see it or they don't know it. Like, what would you tell them?
Failure is part of the process. You need to go through a lot of failure before you go through success.
Mm,
Uh, Not only with like drawing, messing up a lot, but like even opportunities, you're gonna face a lot of rejection. It's just how it goes in this industry.
mm,
And then what art block? Go outside, live,
mm,
make experiences. Basically, what we said about like finding inspiration.
mm, mm,
Very important.
mm. Yeah, very true. As George would say, he said, touch one grass.
Uh,
Yeah, it's so
very true.
real. So real. Do you do you have like some sort of ultimate goal or like some big story you want to tell, like a magnum opus, or just some sort of like overarching quest or something that you want to have as an artist, like the day you die you hope you did this?
about writing and illustrating a graphic novel,
Mhm.
but I don't know. I don't know if I'm shifting gears.
Mm.
I think it's a lot of work, but maybe that is like an end goal of mine, like eventually down the road. I think that would be really cool. And
Mhm.
then I think another long term goal of mine is just to become an art director of some sort. Initially, it was like I thought it'd be really cool to do that for like an animation studio, but I don't know how
Mm.
realistic it is anymore with how the industry is, the current state that it's in.
Yeah.
So maybe for something else.
You know, I was I was thinking about that, and I know, I mean, around the time whenever we first met, we talked about how we both wanted jobs in the animation space, or either animation or like gaming, concept arting and stuff like that. And we were both on a pretty heavy pursuit to get those types of jobs. We were like sharpening up portfolios and things. And ever since we've kind of learned about the industry shifting and cutting a lot of people, um, I was curious to know how your vision or your focus has changed from that, and if you were still at it, and if not, where did you pivot to? Like, I still get people asking me like, hey, do you still want to did you still want to, you know, be a concept artist at this place? And it's not like an opportunity, but just it might be like the homie asking me like, yo, did you still want to work for that company or whatever? And like, I don't feel as enthused about the idea of that anymore. I'm curious what you think about it.
I'm in the same boat. Um, yeah, when we talked about it, I was really, really motivated to do something like that. But I think after, everything that's been happening in the industry, it's just like I've kind of pivoted on, I don't think it's a good idea to rely on that anymore. It's not, I don't think a lot of these companies value the artists. So I think now my long term goal has pivoted towards like just building my own business and being more what's the word? Self sustainable.
Mm, yeah.
What about you?
Yeah. I would say the same. I think that the time and the effort that would be going into trying to still curate a portfolio to get this job for this company would your time and energy that you would use to do that would be much better spent trying to develop a project or a career or practice of your own. It was actually the idea shifted for me officially whenever I did a zine with my friend. We did this zine. It's actually right here. It's called Fetch, and it was with the homie Ty Goodwin, and it's about dogs. I think I showed you the comic I made for this, but it's basically like a it's an anthology full of comics around dogs. And and I saw this come together, and I mean, everybody sat here and did this. There was no company that allowed them to do it. There was no, job that somebody had and put everybody on. It's like we just decided, or he really decided to do this, and he brought all his homies with him, and we all just sat here and made this book. And then he sold it at Lightbox, and I mean, he sold quite a few copies, and it was a success. I think it was a success where he had an idea, he made something. There's a book, a tangible piece of work that people have bought and enjoy, and there was no company involved in doing it. And there was something really magical about that, where it's like, this is cool. Like, we made our own dream come to life instead of trying to fight to prove that we're worthy to push someone else's dream. It's like just use your skills to push your own dreams. And then like it'll be slower, of course, than like a big company because they have more resources and more eyes on them and just there's more people, working at the same time. But I think people are starting to shift towards smaller indie titles, even like games and movies and books. They're starting to pivot more towards like independently owned projects, and they seem to be a little bit more adventurous in terms of their concept too, like just how what they choose to talk about and how they want to um like the type of story they want to tell or the visuals, like the looks, they're so different and they're so like new and fresh and like real. And I think that's really, really refreshing. And I want to add to that flame of like just new people making stuff because they can and seeing if people enjoy it. But been trying to figure out what medium to do that with. I've been I messed around in game development for a little bit. Coding's very hard though. Like it's tough and it takes a while. And comics are cool too. A show would be cool. A game would be really fun too, but I'm not too sure of the medium, but I don't know, something fun, just something, and I'll just keep making like pieces along the way and sharing them out with people. But yeah, I think similar to you, it's like um just wanting to focus on your own individual career and how to lift that off the ground first. And you know what's funny about that is that'll probably be what brings what brings the opportunities. People will start being like, "Hey, you want to do stuff for this company?" Like now that you've like decided to go the other direction.
They, um, I do think watched something about that. Like a lot of people are going more towards like the indie projects and like the self starters. I think Kickstarter is a great place to do those projects.
Hmm. I never really looked at Kickstarter like that. Like I've definitely heard of the website and stuff. Like, I know what it is, but I've never really been on there like that and went to see what kind of stuff I could back, what kind of stuff I could support on there, or even putting my own stuff on there.
Professor recently did one and it was like super successful. It was like very eye opening.
Mm. What
It's
was it
possible.
about?
He did it about his daughter, I think. I actually just got the book. Let me see. Let me. Let me
Oh shoot, that looks legit. Oh, I can even
yeah,
see like the finish, like I can see like a
yeah.
shine on the characters and stuff. What is that? Dear Bernadette? Is that what it
Yep.
says? Is that a comic?
It's not a comic. I think it's just like a collection of illustrations he did, and then he like kind of talks about his experience with his daughter while he drew them. I'm assuming.
Hmm,
I still need to read it.
interesting. Mm. He said it was super successful.
Hmm. Like he got a lot of funding for it, and then
Mm.
I think he said he got a lot of commissions out of it too, which is really cool.
Mm. It makes you wonder too, like after a certain point, you've gotten your skill to a certain level, you more important, like more than anything, in order to build that independent career, like you need eyes on your work. Like a lot of people just don't know who you are, and especially with like the social media platforms, and the algorithms, it's hard to get work out there, like in front of people's faces a lot of times.
Yeah, artists have to be content creators now.
Mm. I don't know if you saw a Blue story, Proper Blue, but he posted something on Reddit. He did like I think he posted like his solo show on Reddit, and it like went viral. It got like 200,000 views or clicks or something like that. And I mean, and it really blew him up, at least on Reddit. I don't know if I don't know if he like linked it to his Instagram or what. I don't know how that has transferred over, but it just goes to show, like, you can getting it out there in other places, like it just goes to show how much of a hold those programs algorithms have on us, because like you can put it in another place and it literally people love it to death and they eat it up. Like you post something on IG and it's like it's so, you know. You say what?
It's like crickets.
Yeah, literally, literally. And I don't know. And I feel sorry, like it sucks too, because sometimes people will take that personally and they'll be like, "Oh, this must mean my art isn't that great, or it's not good enough to get a lot of likes like the other person." It's like, no, no, like a lot of people aren't seeing it. They're really missing it. Shit. Yeah. Need to stay trying to get your artwork out. I think that's super important for people wanting to be independent artists. Let me erase this right here. So what do you think is something very important that we haven't discussed so far?
In what context?
Um, just in any. I'm just curious to know if there's anything that like we may have missed in conversation.
Mm,
I know we went to a lot of different places, you know. Uh-oh. The dang camera zoomed in. But just curious. I think we're gonna just wrap it up here in just a sec. But um I just asked to know if there was anything that any last questions, or even for the viewers, if y'all have any other last questions for Trudy.
think
What'd you say?
I don't think I have anything to add.
Yeah, all goody. All goody. This has been fun, man. I've seen this is sat here and drawn some really fun, interesting stuff, and learned a lot about different ways to, I mean, create, and different ways to think, and different ways to see. It's been fun.
Wait, did you make any more sketches? I want to compile them and screenshot.
Oh shoot. You've been putting them on layers. That's so smart. I've been erasing them.
Oh my god.
I've
Your
been
problem.
erasing them bad boys. I'm so sorry. That's rough,
That's
man.
just screenshot from the recording.
Let's see. Draw some more stuff real quick.
was fun. I haven't done this in a very long time.
What,
It's
like a
very,
collab drawing?
I think sketching in general too.
Oh,
like,
okay.
like just for like, not for work, just like personal, for fun. It's very, very relaxing.
It's like low stakes, no stakes.
Nope.
Okay. Um, Hot Chocolate says, I fangirl every time I see your art. Really a huge inspiration to me. Oh my gosh. You can so do art for Will of the Mini. Have you heard of that book before, Will of the Mini?
Not seen that. I'm looking up.
Oh, that's kind of cool. It kind of looks like the dragon's coming out of her back.
Oh, that is cool.
She has like a spell of some sort, some magic.
Doesn't look like this is illustrated yet. Let me look at
What now?
the book Will of the Many, fantasy novel.
Oh yeah. I think it'd be cool if you did some because they talk about how the characters are dressed, and it's like Roman and Greek inspired clothing, like with togas and like different um like different little gears. Like it'd be cool to kind of capture that and like kind of in the contrapposto feel too. I think, and even just like the folds of the clothes and stuff would be fun to play around with too.
It's interesting.
Hmm. Yeah, you killed these sketches down here. Killed these.
You did too. These are so cool.
Appreciate it. I love here playing around, drawing some little silly characters.
We should do
Um,
this more often. It's fun.
yeah, yeah. I had signed into this for the first time today, and
Mhm.
I saw like a different, like an old drawing from when me and a couple other friends did this years ago, and I'm like, damn, like it was kind of like that same realization, like, damn, I have not done something like this in a long time. But yeah, this is fun. So I'm down to do more of these too. Man is on the is he on the phone?
This guy,
This guy right here.
I don't know what he's doing.
It looked like he's like talking and he's kind of like just it's like talking his shit like
We could say it's that. Get out of phone, maybe. Hmm.
yeah,
I don't know. His hand
cool.
is kind of awkward.
Let's see. But these sketches are so amazing. Playful from Monk Panda.
Thank you.
And they're showing love. Yeah, this one, I think this one's like my favorite right here. Cause it came together. I saw you kind of just sketching each little part. Like it wasn't even like no huge like guidelines and all this mapping. You just kind of hit it and it was just done. It was there. I was like, damn. Yeah, these are tight. Uh, um, little screenshot here.
Save it.
Bam. Well, cool. This was a lot of fun. I appreciate you once again for sitting, draw, and talk with me for a little while. And I hope that people um, was able to learn from this conversation, and just even from watching you draw. I mean, a lot of people can learn a lot just by like watching people work. So yeah. So yeah, thank you once again for coming through and
Yeah,
sharing your
of
expertise with us.
course.
Monk Panda said, "What program?" This is Magma Studio. I'll put it in the chat. And yeah, it just and you can draw on any device that can access the internet. Like you can go on a touchscreen phone, an iPad, computer, and it's no program. You don't have to download anything. I think that's the coolest part. Yeah. Oh, cool. One thing too before we sign off of this, can you let people know where they can find you and how they can support you?
Instagram, probably the easiest is Trudy, TrudyTran, Art, my tag.
Mm, all right, putting that in the chat now. Well, we will catch you later. Say bye to the stream.
Bye.
Thank you so much for watching the episode. One of my favorite things about doing this podcast is hearing about when someone resonates with something we said. It's truly the reason I continue to make these happen. Comment down below what stuck with you, and we can continue the discussion further. Also consider liking and subscribing. It helps me bring in more amazing creatives and helps me make this show better for you all every episode. Catch y'all next week.